Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. Once again, I welcome to you. So, you please see this map. So, what we are seeing in this picture? So, in this picture, we are getting to know India is composed of different kinds of landforms. You see these mountains in the north, as well as desert in the west, and we have the plateau region in the central part of India, and we have plains, and we have the coastal plains, as well as we have the Ghats. Ghats are the continuous ranges, Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So between Western Ghats and the sea, you got the coastal plains, and Eastern Ghats at Bay of Bengal, you got the another coastal plains, that is Western coastal plains and Eastern coastal plains respectively. So this is how India was different in physical features. In last class, we had seen the location of India. In this class, we are going to see the relief of India. So basically, India's physical features were divided into five. Himalayan mountains in the north. To the south of Himalayan mountains, there is Great Northern Plains. To the south of Great Northern Plains, you have Peninsular Plateau and Indian desert in west, that is in Rajasthan, and coastal plains between Western Ghats and Arabian Sea and Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. And we have the island groups Andaman and Nicobar, that is one island group, and Lakshadweep is another island group. In this video, we are going to see about Himalayan mountains. You see how the Himalaya was formed. The Himalaya was most young mountain. Do you know what is young? Young means it was very recently formed. It was formed by the process of folding. Do you know what is folding? Yes, the basic literal meaning of folding. Okay, so how it was formed by folding means because of these two continental plates. You see this Indo-Australian plate and Eurasian plates. When it's collided, the deposits getting folded, uplifted to form the Himalayas. And what is the length of the Himalayas? You see in this Gork in the west to Brahmaputra Gork in the east, and the length of Himalayas is 2500 km. And in the west, what is the width? In the west, it is 500 km, especially in the Kashmir region. The width of the Himalayas were 500 km. In the east, in Arunachal Pradesh, the width of the Himalayas were 200 km. So this was the basic length and breadth of Himalayas. And also you see this is the Pamir knot. So Pamir knot lies north of Himalayas. This connects Himalayas to the highlands of Central Asia. If you see the Asia map, Central Asia is lying above the Himalayas. In the Central Asia, there are so many highlands. Highlands means mountains. These mountains were connected by the Himalayas through this Pamir knot. So Pamir knot is also called as roof of the world. Okay. So and also the Himalayas were permanently covered by snow. That's why it is called as abode of snow. So that's what the meaning of the word Himalaya means. Okay. Now we are going to see different kind of Himalayas. We have to understand the Himalayas were broadly classified into three. One is Western Himalayas, Himalayas, and Purvanchal. Now we are going to see Western Himalayas. Western Himalayas lying in the western part of India, especially in the Jammu and Kashmir region and the Tibet region. And you see what are the ranges found in the Western Himalayas: Karakoram, Ladakh, Jaskar, Kailas range. Okay, so these are the ranges found in the Western Himalayas. Okay, and you see in the west what is the width of Himalayas? 40 km. In the east also, the east of the Great Himalaya also 40 km. So in the both east and western extremities, the width of the Himalayas is almost 40 km. But in central part it is too wide, that is 200 km. Okay, this was the Western Himalayas. And also in the Western Himalayas you find lot of Tethys deposits. Tethys was the sea that was between Indian plate and Eurasian plate. The sea got its deposits. These deposits deposited as a sediments. Okay, and you see these deposit sediments in the Himalayas. And also you can see some marine fossils. You know, fossils means dead organisms lying within the rocks. In the same way, in the Himalayas, dead marine organisms lying within the tertiary rocks, because it is in the tertiary period, tertiary granite. Okay, and also this was how the Himalayas was formed. Basically, I am just making the story very short. Once upon a time, Earth was a single landmass, and we have only one ocean. That was a theory. Here we have Pangaea as a land mass, and Panthalassa is the ocean. This Pangaea was divided into Laurasia and Gondwana. Between Laurasia and Gondwana, Laurasia is also called as Angara land. Laurasia is between Laurasia and Gondwana. We have Ntse. This Ntse only have some deposits. These deposits were uplifted to form the Himalayas. Okay, so this is what happened during the formation of Himalayas. And in Western Himalayas, what are the ranges? What are the important peaks? So this is what Western Himalayas. Okay, so this is what Western Himalayas. Now we are going to see Himalayas. In Himalayas, what are the most important peaks? You see in Kashmir, Mount K2 or Godwin Austen, Nanga Parbat, and you see between Sikkim and Nepal, that is Kanchenjunga. In Nepal only there are most number of peaks: Mount Everest, Maikalu, Annapurna, Dhaulagiri, Kurla, Mandata. In Uttarakhand you have Kamat, Nanda Devi, and you have Namcha Barwa in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so this was Himalayas. Okay, so this Himalayas was formed by the, again you have to understand, this is how the Himalayas was formed. But compared to greater Himalayas formed. So we have the Trans Himalayas and Purvanchal. So Trans Himalayas, we have more number of marine sediments, and Himalayas forms the core part of the northern mountains. Core part of the northern mountains, because we have more number of deposits, Tethys deposits in the Himalayas. So you have to differentiate between Trans Himalayas and Himalayas. So Trans Himalayas means it's a western part of Himalayas. Himalayas means a core part of Himalayas. So this Himalaya was formed based on the deposits from Tethys, that is in between. So you see Tethys is in between Angara land and Gondwana land. So these Tethys deposits, because of the compression of these two land masses, these Tethys deposits getting uplifted and folded to form the Himalayas. And this Himalayas contains most number of peaks, almost world's 14 most highest peak. If there is a 14 highest peaks in the world, 9 peaks are found in the Himalayas. Okay, and we have the three kind of Himalayas, that is Himadri, Himachal, Sivaliks. So let's see the difference between these three. Himadri is very higher and very loftier compared to other two part of Himalayas, and Sivaliks is lying in the least height, and Sivaliks forms the lower part of Himalayas. So Great Himalayas is also called as Himadri, and Lesser Himalayas are also called as Himachal, and Sivaliks is the outer part of Himalayas. And what is the average height of the Himadri? That is 6,000 meter. So it's very height, right? And what is the average height of Himachal? 3,700 to 4,500 meter. What is the average height of Sivaliks? It is just 900 to 1,100 meter. That is altitude. So altitude means with respect to the position of the person, and elevation is 1,300 meter. So what is difference between altitude and elevation? Altitude and elevation both refers to height, but altitude with refers to the person. Okay, person we are observing, and elevation with respect to the mean sea level. So average height of the Sivaliks is 1300 meter based on the mean sea level. And what is the width of the Himalayas? So Himachal have more width, right? So Himatri have only 25 km wide, but Himachal have up to 80 km wide. Sivaliks have 10 km in east. In east means in eastern part of these mountains, very less width, but western part of this mountain very huge width. And Himatri is most continuous range, and the Sivaliks is most discontinuous range. In Himatri, we have less rainfall and less weathering. Weathering means a breaking down of rock materials. But Himachal, we have high rainfall and more deforestation and more urbanization. People are moving from various places to this place, and this place is getting urbanized. Urbanized means this place is getting into cities, and because of these reasons, there is high weathering. High weathering means the rocks are breaking down in very high rate. And Himatri, we have permanent snow cover, so we got the glaciers Gangotri, Yamunotri, and Siachen. From Gangotri only, Ganga river is emerging, Yamunotri river only, Yamuna river is emerging. So these are the glaciers from which the rivers originate. Himachal, we have more hill stations. The most famous one among them are Shimla, Mussoorie, Nainital, Almora, Ranikat, and Darjeeling. And Sivaliks, there is a longitudinal gap between the longitudinal valleys between the different mountains of Sivaliks, and these are called as duns in the west and duars in the east. And these places were as these places were valleys, these places were very suitable for the settlements in this region. And here we have in this Himadri range we have more amount of highest peaks, that is Mount Everest, the highest peak of the world, that is 8848 meter. In Tamil we may say எட்டு எட்டா நாலு எடுத்து வச்சா எவரெஸ்ட் போயிடலாம். ஸோ எட்டு எட்டா நாலு எடுத்து வச்சா எவரெஸ்ட் போயிடலாம். And second highest peak is Kanchenjunga, that is in between Sikkim and Nepal. And we have some important ranges in the Himachal: Pir Panjal range, Dhauladhar range, and Mahabharat range. That's what about Himalayas. And what is about Purvanchal? So Purvanchal is the eastern extension of Himalayas. You see Himalayas we have in northern part, and in eastern part, northeastern part, we have Purvanchal. In Purvanchal we have so many important hills. You see Patkai Bum Hills, Naha Hills, Mizo Hills, and we also have Manipur here. See here Manipur Hills, Tripura Hills, okay. And you see these three hills continuously: Garo Hills, Kasi Hills, Jainti Hills. Actually these hills are eastward extension of Indian peninsular block. Indian peninsular block. But from this peninsular plateau, these hills were separated by Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. So Ganga river is flowing here and the Brahmaputra river is flowing here. Because of this, the peninsular landmass was separated from these three hills. So these were the important hills. Along with this, we have these much hills: Dafla Hills, Abor Hills, Mismi Hills, Patkai Bum Hills, Naha, Manipur Hills, Mizo Hills, Tripura Hills, Mikiri Hills, Karo, Gashi, Jaintia. So in this way, we can understand the different hills of Purvanchal. So we had seen Trans Himalayas, that is also called as Western Himalayas, and Himalayas, that is Himadri, Himachal, Sivaliks, and we have Purvanchal, that is eastward extension of Himalayas. And now we have a different kind of Himalayas based on the longitudinal division. You see between Indus and Sutlej river we have Punjab Himalayas. In the textbook it is also given as Kashmir Punjab Himalayas. Between Sutlej and Kali we have Kumaun Himalayas. Between Kali and Tista we have central part of Himalayas, central Nepal Himalayas. Between Tista and Dihang we have Assam Himalayas. So these were the different longitudinal division of Himalayas. And what are the importance of Himalayas? So first of all, these Himalayas were blocking the southwest monsoon winds. Because of this blocking only, India is getting, especially North India is getting heavy rainfall. And also this became the natural barrier to Indian subcontinent. and also many perennial means permanent rivers like Indus, Ganges, and Brahmaputra originating from these glaciers in these Himalayas. And also these mountains were famous tourist spot because it contains lot of beautiful nature, and many hill stations and pilgrim stay centers are located in this place. Example, Amarnath, Kedarnath, Badrinath, and Vaishnavi Devi temples are also located here. And in this forest we have more amount of raw materials for the many forest based industries. Okay, suppose you are manufacturing table, you are manufacturing furnitures. Okay, so these forest based industries can get the raw materials for this production from this Himalayan forest. And also from the Central Asia, there were the cold winds coming from the Central Asia. But India is never cold, even though it is located just below the Central Asia. Why? Because the Himalayas prevents the cold winds coming from Central Asia. So this protects India from severe cold. And also Himalayas are very famous for rich biodiversity. Many kind of living organisms where have the habitat in the Himalayas. In the next class, we will see about northern plains. Until then, I will bid you farewell. Thank you for watching my video completely and patiently until the last minute.